Welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. It is time for the BCS National Championship game. This 5-week journey is about to come to an end tonight in prime time as the number 2 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, led by star running back Trent Richardson, who's rushed for 200 yards in every single playoff game thus far, will go up against the number 4th ranked Stanford Cardinal, led by quarterback Andrew Luck, who's thrown just 1 interception in all of these bowl championship series games combined. It all comes down to this, the drive for 5. Week 5, the national title game, just like Division 2, a 5-round playoff. And we are at the end. Both of these teams, they've already won games in this stadium. They know what it's like to win in this dome. There are no excuses. And there you see the man, Andrew Luck, who will be taking the reins for the Stanford Cardinal team to try to go up against Trent Richardson. And who is going to come out the winner? The senior, with one more opportunity. He came back for his senior year. A lot of people said, no, go to the NFL while your draft stock is high. He said, I can't. I have to come back and make last year's first-round loss right for my team. He has done that. He's made it all the way back to the title game, and I think his draft stock is as high as ever after this run in the BCS Playoff. For the Crimson Tide, they were also eliminated in the first round of the BCS playoffs. Both of these teams went out in the first round, and now this year they've made it all the way to the big showdown, the big dance at the end. What a run for both of these schools. They open it up with a Stephon Taylor run, and he's only able to get 1 yard out to the 32-yard line. It'll be second down and 9. Another handoff to Taylor. And he's had a couple of great moments, a couple of great games in the Bowl Championship Series, but he's also had a couple of not-so-great moments here in the BCS playoffs. Can he outstage Trent Richardson? We had one good running back try to do that last week in David Wilson. It didn't happen, but Andrew Luck is going to try to outstage Trent Richardson. Fires a rocket pass over the middle of the field into the waiting arms of his fullback, Ryan Hewitt. And that'll be enough for a Stanford Cardinal first down. The Stanford Cardinal had to claw and fight to the very end with the Texas Longhorns last week in the Final Four to become champs of the Sugar Bowl. And same thing for Alabama. They became champs of the Sugar Bowl, but they actually didn't have to fight and claw. They blew through their opponent pretty easily. So now it comes down to this, the highest ranked BCS National Championship game we've ever had. 2 versus 4. The champs of the Alabama bracket versus the champs of the Stanford bracket. On 2nd and 13, Luck completes another pass for a Stanford Cardinal first down. Jamal Rashard Patterson with that catch, and you can go down at the bottom of the page and like our Facebook page so you can see brackets, you can see photos, stats, I mean everything over on the Facebook page. And everyone on that page said that Stanford would not make it out of bracket number 4 alive. Stephon Taylor with the carry for 7 yards. They said there is no way that the Cardinal would make it, or excuse me, that was Wilkerson, the backup. There was no way that Stanford would make it out of that bracket alive. Well, here they are. They have avenged last season's opening round defeat, as has Alabama, and both teams are back in the title game. First down, no. Incomplete pass was dropped. So 3rd down and 3. And again, how about a year ago? Both teams losing in the opening round, but now, 1 year later, here they are, fighting for the crystal ball. Andrew Luck will run it himself. Eat your heart out, Trent Richardson with that run. First down for the Stanford Cardinal to keep the opening drive alive here in the BCS Allstate National Championship game. They have it at the Alabama 30-yard line. What an opening drive. They didn't see many of those, the Crimson Tide defense last week. Incomplete pass. They didn't see many drives like this done to them by the Virginia Tech Hokies last week. It was a dominating performance. The inside handoff to Wilkerson. And he'll get 2 yards and nothing more. 3rd down and 8. And we might have to see Andrew Luck try to use his arm. All day to throw. Finally makes the heave. Incomplete. Knocked away by Barron. And it'll have to be a field goal opportunity. It was Mark Barron on the deflection. And now to attempt this field goal, Jordan Williamson. And it's good. So early on in the national championship game, it's Stanford 3, Alabama 0. And now we'll see how the Tide will handle their opening possession. Trent Richardson back there returning the kickoff. So Andrew Luck, for the most part, did his part, able to drive down on a very tough Alabama defense, had to settle for a field goal. Well, now we see what Trent Richardson will do. No, he won't, because A.J. McCarron wants to throw it. He wants to try to outduel Andrew Luck. A.J. McCarron is able to get the pass out there and completed to his tight end, Michael Williams. It'll be just short of the 1st down, so I would be, or no, they did give him the 1st down. It will be enough for the 1st. It was a close one, but they gave him the 1st, so they throw the ball rather than let Richardson run it, who's rushed for 200 yards in each of his last 5 games. That includes the Iron Bowl against Auburn. And you see on the opening run for Trent Richardson, doesn't go down, lowers the shoulder, bounces off of players, and finds a way to get a 1st down. He averaged 12 yards a rush in the Virginia Tech victory last week in the Sugar Bowl Final Four. The give to Richardson once again. Tries to spin away, and they drop Trent after only a 3-yard gain. Nick Saban versus David Shaw here in the Allstate BCS National Championship game. The handoff. No, the fake. Pressured. McCarron almost threw an interception. That's something that he needs to be careful of, because he did that quite a few times here in the BCS playoffs, and he threw some bad interceptions. Luckily, the rest of his offense is able to bail him out a couple of times. And McCarron able to get that one away for a 1st down out to Darius Hanks. Wide open, and McCarron, you saw at the bottom of your screen, took a hit. So he got some damage dealt to him, but he was still able to get the ball away. Both teams, similar uniforms. I mean, the pants are the same, white pants, red stripes, same exact jerseys, just about. And these two teams are one and the same. And on the play action fake, A.J. McCarron, he will get sacked by Terrence Brown, the cornerback, the junior. So 2nd down and 15. Handoff to Trent. And Richardson will get 8 yards on the run. And I'll make it a 3rd down and 7. So Alabama held Stanford to a field goal on their opening drive. Can Stanford hold Alabama to a field goal on their opening drive? McCarron to throw it on 3rd and 7, and they will. Alabama will have to settle for a field goal. It'll be Jeremy. No, they will not. Nick Saban not trusting his field goal kickers after the only loss of the season. 4th and 7, they are going to go for it. A.J. McCarron has all the time in the world, and then he throws that kind of a pass. He had all the time that he wanted to throw the football, and he throws a pass like that. Wow. They must have been well covered down the field. The handoff to Stephon Taylor to get a yard, and Alabama, who has not trailed that often in the BCS playoffs, and actually I can only think of the Clemson game that they trailed. Stanford has a chance to really do some damage here to Alabama and open this game up. The catch by Kobe Fleener, and that's going to be the end of quarter number 1 here at the BCS National Championship game. It's number 4 Stanford leading number 2 Alabama 3-0. And welcome back to the second quarter. Handoff to Taylor. Taylor's got the first down. The Stanford tree is in attendance today. Andrew Luck to throw it on 1st and 10, and almost interception. Would have been interception number 2 for Andrew Luck in this entire run of the BCS playoffs. That takes us to a 2nd down and 10. And Andrew Luck pegs that one off of the back of his offensive lineman, and you see the defense more so. That was Josh Chapman. They're all clapping their hands, kind of rubbing it into Andrew Luck, making a very inaccurate throw as he hits his defensive player in the back. So they let Taylor try to run it on a draw play on 3rd and 10. Doesn't work out. Dante Hightower clapping his hands in excitement. And the Tide defense will hold as Stanford will be forced to punt the football. Bounces into the end zone. So Alabama will get it up at the 20-yard line and another opportunity on offense. Richardson will go down. He will lose 4 yards on the carry. They're keying on him. This is something that all week in practice, the Cardinal, they were determined, do not let Trent Richardson rush for 200 yards. Every team in the playoffs has let Richardson rush on us for 200 yards. We don't want to be that team. We want to force A.J. McCarron, who has been inaccurate in the playoffs, to make some throws. But he's very accurate on the throw to Darius Hanks. Wide open, and did he get the feet down? There's the catch. Kind of hard to tell in quick speed like that, but I think he did get the foot down. First down and 10 to Richardson. Richardson breaks the tackle. Stiff arms trying to get the first down, and he will get it. So Trent Richardson nearly breaking his first big run of the football game. But on the Stanford side, it was number 26, and that's Howell, the safety, who at the last minute was able to get there and bring down Richardson and save the big touchdown run. They are sending Mays in motion, then they'll give it to Richardson on the draw play, and they are doing a great job, is the Stanford defense, of not letting Trent Richardson do what Trent Richardson does, and that's a whole lot of big runs. And he's had a lot of them in the playoffs, but now Richardson will take the snap. Richardson out of the quarterback position. He will give it on the handoff, and they will come up with another stop. The handoff to Eddie Lacy. And the Stanford Cardinal, Lancaster was in on the tackle, the linebacker, but they come up with the stop, so now it's 3rd down and long, and probably going to have to see A.J. McCarron throw the ball. Indeed we are. And the offensive line giving McCarron once again lots of time, and he completes it down to the 15-yard line to Marquise Mays. Into double coverage, And I don't know how that ball wasn't swatted away, because you saw Michael Thomas hop up for Stanford number 3 and try to swap the ball. It went right past him and into the hands of Mays. And now Alabama is in business of scoring the first touchdown here of the national championship game. Under pressure, McCarron gets it out to Richardson, and Richardson's got to be frustrated because he's run freely on these teams the last 4 weeks in the Bowl Championship Series, but yet here tonight in the national title game against Stanford, there's been no openings for him. Eddie Lacy. They switch it up a bit. They go with Lacy, and he's only able to get a couple of yards on the run, so 3rd down and 3. Lacy takes it again, cannot get the first down. And they'll have to settle for a field goal, which would be a tie. And they're going to let all the time tick, tick, tick away. All the way down. And Jeremy Shelley puts it in, so we are all tied up here in the BCS Allstate National title game. What can Andrew Luck and Stanford do with 3 timeouts and 1 minute to go? Luck will take off with it, and he'll rush the ball for 8 yards. Luck to throw it under pressure, incomplete, so 3rd and 2. Three for 5 on 3rd down conversions. 51 seconds to go in the first half of the national title game. Stephon Taylor on the run. Stephon Taylor trying to break free, and he'll be just shy of midfield up to the 48-yard line. So Stanford will use their 2nd timeout. Luck to throw it. Screen pass out to Stephon Taylor. Hoping that he might have been able to run loose, but he wasn't. So time will continue to roll down to 35 seconds, trying to preserve that last timeout. Andrew Luck has a wide open receiver, and that's going to be a Stanford touchdown. The first touchdown of the national championship. Andrew Luck hooks up with Griff Whalen. Broken coverage all the way, and we have our first touchdown of the national title game by way of Andrew Luck to Griff Whalen. And there you see head coach David Shaw enjoying that. Since the Bowl Championship Series started, our national title games, our champions have been Texas from the Big 12, Boise State from the WAC, back when they were in the WAC, Arizona from the Pac-10, and then Ohio State from the Big 10. The Pac-10, now the Pac-12, trying to become the first to win national champions in this system. And for the SEC, they're trying to win their first national title. They've only had one team in the national championship in the last several years, and that was Georgia in 2007. The opening round of the opening year of the BCS playoffs, and Georgia made it to the title game. In fact, 3 SEC teams made it to the Final Four, but Texas was the one that survived and won the title. We thought Texas was going to go back again, but they were met with this Stanford team and sent home. Trent Richardson literally doing everything in his power to get his running game going, but Stanford just, it's too much for him right now. This is nothing like Richardson's seen in the entire run of the BCS playoffs. First down throw and catch for the Tide, and they use the timeout down to 11 seconds. A.J. McCarron to throw the football. Over the middle, completed pass to Mays. No, that was to White. And we have a flag. So the penalty will stop the clock, and they'll let Shelley attempt the long field goal when they went for it earlier. So they trust him now, I guess. And they probably shouldn't have. I don't mean to laugh or chuckle, but they trust him the second time around. And the Stanford Cardinal watch the field goal drop, and now Andrew Luck with 1 second gets an opportunity. And Andrew Luck will go down. Quarterback sack, and we've seen that far too many times on these last-second Hail Marys. That was just really nice effort, though, by Alabama to come up with a sack. And that'll be the end of the first half of the Allstate BCS National Championship. We hope you enjoyed this 5-week run of games, but we are down to just one. It's Stanford 10 and Alabama 3, something that the Crimson Tide are not used to. They are trailing in a football game. This is going to be an interesting and fun second half. You do not want to go away. And welcome back to the second half of the BCS National Championship. Here's game tracks to show you what you've missed. And it's been a couple of Alabama blunders, but then they've been able to come up with some things late. But in the end, it's been a pretty even game here, back and forth. But as we said before the half, Alabama, they're not used to being in this position of trailing. And right now, only with 3 points on the board, Trent Richardson has yet to get his game going. Stanford has done a great job on defense of coming up with ways to stop Trent Richardson. Mays will get that opening catch for 10 yards. And Alabama desperately trying to knock this game back up. The handoff to Richardson. There he goes. There goes Trent Richardson. Finally breaking free. Knocked out of bounds at the 21-yard line or so. Finally. They must have made some halftime adjustments because we didn't see any of that from Richardson in the first half. The handoff to Richardson. Fumble on the play, and that's going to be Cardinal football still on his feet. And finally tackled, and Richardson makes his first big mistake of this entire run in the BCS playoffs. Terrence Brown able to pick up the fumble, and Richardson, who's been absolutely perfect throughout the playoffs, lets Michael Thomas come in and strip him of the football. I mean, Trent Richardson has been absolutely perfect throughout these playoffs, and now he gets to the national championship game, and he starts to struggle. Can Andrew Luck and company take advantage? Well, they're going to do their best. That was a really nice start for the Cardinal. Drew Terrell with the reception. And Taylor with the run. He'll only get a yard. Stephon Taylor able to make it a 3rd down and short after the inside handoff. It's just a 7-point game for Stanford over Alabama. First down for Stanford. The Stephon Taylor run. The tree is going crazy. The fans that have been in New Orleans for the last 2 weeks for their team, they're going crazy. They're feeling they might be close to a national championship. They've already avenged the things that were in their way, which was a win at Qualcomm Stadium, a win over Oregon. They've avenged all those defeats, and now they're here trying to go up by 2 scores on Alabama. They have not been in a hole like that throughout the entire tournament. Andrew Luck overthrows his man, incomplete, but for as much as Richardson struggled, aside from the one good pass for Andrew Luck, he hasn't had his masterful game either. So, I mean, this has just been really good playing on both sides between 2 very evenly matched teams. Luck will find an open receiver, though, at around the 30, 28-yard line. And that'll be a Stanford Cardinal first down. Luck to get the pass out there to Kobe Fleener, the senior tight end, who would love to also win the Crystal Football before his season is over. Or I should say his college career is over, what I meant to say. Stephon Taylor fumbles the football, and it's going to be recovered by Fleener. So he saves the Stanford Cardinal on that drive after the fumble. That was close. 2nd down and 5. Luck to throw the football. And it'll just get back to the original line of scrimmage. Ty Montgomery with the reception. 3rd down and 5. Andrew Luck looking for the first, and he's got it out to Kobe Fleener. And that not only keeps the drive alive, but keeps the clock ticking. Get up by as many scores as possible and give the ball back to Alabama with as little time as possible. Fake handoff to Wilkerson. He gets it out to Fleener again for a 5-yard grab. And Nick Saban just hoping at this point his team can come up with something, come up with a stop. Put an end to this methodical drive by Andrew Luck and Stanford. The handoff to Taylor. Opening. Touchdown Stanford. And they will take a lead of 16-3 over the Alabama Crimson Tide. A point after attempt would make it a 14-point game for the Stanford Cardinal. And the kick is good. So how about Stanford? A 12-play, 80-yard drive eating up 3 minutes of clock. They survived against Notre Dame. They blew out Michigan. They barely got by the Oregon Ducks in the Rose Bowl. And they barely survived the Texas Longhorns in the Final Four. But yet here they are. And they have a 14-point lead on the Alabama Crimson Tide late in the 3rd quarter in the BCS National Championship game. Trenton Richardson gets the handoff, and he gets tackled after just 1 yard. And again, nothing more can be said about how well this defense showed up today for Stanford, for an Alabama team that scored 40-plus games in their BCS playoffs. Just about every game, Richardson with a run again. And Trent Richardson who rushed the ball for 200-plus yards in every playoff game. They're held to 3 points. I don't even think Richardson's hit 100 yards rushing yet. On 3rd down, A.J. McCarron will have to throw the football. He's going to look deep. Has an open man, and it's going to be caught just inside the red zone by White. DeAndrew White, the freshman from Houston, Texas. Oh, wow. And Alabama back in business. The new Mercedes-Benz Superdome. This stadium, this dome, it is getting loud as it's clutch time. The handoff to Trent Richardson, still unable to get his game going. He gets tackled for a loss of a yard. 2nd down and 9, and something they haven't had to really do in the BCS playoffs up to this point. They might have to start relying on A.J. McCarron to win them this game. And he might do just that. Completed pass out to Mays. That's his 3rd catch for 75 yards. Under 15 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. And we have movement. They're going to get the ball at the 1-inch line. And with the penalty, the clock will stop at 9 seconds. Eddie Lacy in the backfield. The handoff to Lacy, who scored 2 touchdowns in the win over Virginia Tech. Gets the first score for the Crimson Tide here in the 3rd quarter. And with the extra point about to be attempted by Jeremy Shelley, the Tide will be trailing by just 7. So now it's up to Andrew Luck in Stanford to try to return the touchdown favor from Alabama. They need to go and they need to put points on the board, and if they don't, the door swings wide open for the Crimson Tide to run in and possibly steal the Crystal football. A handoff will get stopped at the line of scrimmage, and we head to the 4th quarter. It is a 7-point football game in the Allstate BCS National Championship. The Stanford Cardinal at number 4 in the nation, Rose Bowl champions and champions of the Stanford bracket, going up against Orange Bowl champions and champions of the Alabama bracket. It's number 2 versus number 4. And they're separated by 7. On 2nd down and 10. Luck to throw it over to his receiver. Was that to Fleener? No, that was to Griff Whalen, who, aside from the 1 touchdown catch today, has been pretty quiet. And he's normally good for about 100 yards a game in the playoffs. 3rd and 1. What will the Cardinal do? Do they let Andrew Luck throw it, or do they take it out of his hands? They take it out of his hands. What a fight we have trying to get the 1st down, and Taylor is able to get it. What a fight that was between Stephon Taylor and number 92, Damian Squire. Wow. I mean, you telling me those 2 teams, those 2 players don't want to be national champions? That was a fight at the 1st down marker. Andrew Luck, incomplete pass. 2nd down and 10, and the clock will stop at 4:25. That is how much remains in the Allstate BCS National Championship. Screen pass, incomplete for Luck, and the clock will stop again. 4 minutes, 22 seconds to go, 3rd and 10, but look at how good Stanford has been on 3rd downs, 8 for 10. That's money right there, and it might lead them to a Crystal football. All kinds of motion from Fleener. Andrew Luck down the field, batted away, incomplete, and the Crimson Tide will get the football back with an opportunity with 4 minutes to go in the football game to tie up the national championship. They're going to need Trent Richardson. They're going to need A.J. McCarron. They're going to need somebody on this team to step up big and be a hero. Batted away. And that's not a good start for Alabama. for A.J. McCarron. You gotta clap your hands, get your team motivated, do something. Don't show frustration like that. It's only gonna hurt your team in the end. 2nd and 10. McCarron going for it all. Has an open man. It's gonna be caught. Touchdown, Alabama, Crimson Tide. And we are 1 point away from this one being tied up in the national championship. The Andrew White making the catch on a 70-yard touchdown grab. And the Tide has overcome this 14-point deficit. It's going to be up to Jeremy Shelley now to make this a tie game. And it goes through. The Allstate BCS National Championship, we are all tied 17-17. And once again, just like Stanford has the last 2 weeks in the Rose Bowl and in the Final Four, their game is coming down to the wire. They've had so many down-to-the-wire games that they've been able to just pull out of their hat. Can they do it one more time? Luck will line up in the shotgun with 3 guys in the backfield. They'll play action, fake it. Andrew Luck will option it out to Stephon Taylor. How about that for an interesting call late in the game with your whole season and the national title on the line? 2nd down and 3. The fans are going nuts in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. The handoff to Taylor, and Taylor gets tackled for a loss of yards. Just a nice job. Number 41, Courtney Upshaw, Alabama. He's a senior from Eufaula, Alabama, to get through there and come up with the tackle. So now on 3rd and long, they're gonna run the ball, so they take it out of Andrew Luck's hands on a 3rd and 7. The coaching staff takes the ball out of Andrew Luck's hands with the football game on the line. Absolutely shocking, and if they end up losing this game, that decision will be talked about for years to come. I don't want anybody touching the football on a 3rd and long with the game on the line but Andrew Luck, and they took it out of his hands. A.J. McCarron being forced to throw the football with Trent Richardson being ineffective. Mays stays on his feet, getting to the 31-yard line. Mays able to blow past the coverage of number 31, Barry Browning, staying on his feet, and finally, at the last possible moment, brought down by Michael Thomas. So that takes us to a 1st and 10 at the 31. Again, they're keeping the ball out of Richardson's hands, but A.J. McCarron, he will get sacked on the play by Ben Gardner, junior defensive end from Wisconsin. Down went A.J. McCarron. The sophomore quarterback trying to lead his team to a national championship. Looking across the field, and he connects with the senior from Birmingham, Alabama, Marquise Mays, for the 1st down, and now the Tide are inside the red zone. AJ to run it, and AJ immediately brought to the turf. He was tackled on the play by David Perry. Number 58, he's a sophomore. What a way for this national championship to come to a close, or what a way for this bowl championship series tournament to come to a close. 2 minutes to go, all tied up. 3rd and 13, McCarron throws the ball to an open receiver. And who would have thought that at this point in time in the football game they would have to take the ball away from Trent Richardson because he's been ineffective, when he's been so good throughout this entire this entire postseason. And now they do give it to Richardson on 3rd and 8. Richardson, Trent Richardson stays on his feet, breaking tackles, and the Crimson Tide take the lead for the first time here today. Or no, I don't even know. First time, second time, I don't know. I know they have the lead late right now. Trent Richardson, who's been held ineffective all day, breaking free, spinning out, getting the score. And now Andrew Luck, he's done it in the Rose Bowl. He did it against Texas. This is Alabama. It's a 7-point game. 1 minute, 16 seconds to go. 3 timeouts. Andrew Luck has another opportunity to write his legacy if he can lead the Stanford Cardinal on a drive down the field to tie this game up. The fans are on the edge of their seats. Who is going to take home the national championship? Andrew Luck over the middle. We know that John Elway, he's famous for doing the drives. John Elway went to Stanford. Can Andrew Luck put together a drive? He's got 1 minute, and they're going to call a timeout. So 2 timeouts, 1 minute. They need to pull off the drive to save their season. They hand the ball off to Taylor, and Taylor will get the first down, and they're going to use their second timeout rather than let the clock stop to move the chains. Andrew Luck, incomplete pass. Batted away by Barron. 52 seconds to go, 1 timeout left. It's 2nd and 10, football on the 42-yard line for Stanford. Luck drops back to pass, throws the ball with everything he has, and it's going to be knocked away by Barron again. And that young man is coming up in a big way for the Crimson Tide late in this football game. The senior from Mobile, Alabama. 3rd down and 10, 46 seconds to go for Stanford. Andrew Luck heaves the football. 1st down, yes it is, for the Stanford Cardinal, able to get the pass out to Terrell. And they spike the football with 40 seconds to go to preserve their timeout. They are at the Alabama 48-yard line. Andrew Luck out of the gun. Incomplete pass. 37 seconds to go. What an ending to the Allstate BCS National Championship. On 3rd down and 10. Andrew Luck will have 3 wide receivers, nobody in the backfield. Andrew Luck throws the football. It's caught, and it's a touchdown. And we are 1 point away from being tied up here in the Allstate BCS National Championship. And for Barron, who had an absolutely awesome day, late, coming up with some pass deflections, the coverage gets blown past him as Jamal Rashard Patterson gets the score. And how about the drive from Andrew Luck? We are all tied up in the BCS National Championship game, 24-24. Does Alabama have any magic in them, or are we going to have to go to overtime? Let's take a look, though, at what Alabama can do, as A.J. McCarron has had a couple of deep throws. They have all 3 timeouts. If they can pull something off like this, get into field goal range, let Jeremy Shelley get it, or at least maybe get down into field goal range, give the ball to Trent Richardson, and he might be able to rattle off a 30-yard run. You see McCarron's numbers, his best that he's had this entire run in the Bowl Championship Series. This drive, though, is for the National Championship. Less than 30 seconds to go, all 3 timeouts, and McCarron will take a sack, and they'll have to use one of their timeouts. Down to 23 seconds remaining. AJ over the middle. Has an open receiver. He's going to go all the way to the house. Where's the coverage? Touchdown, Alabama Crimson Tide. DeAndrew White. What happened to the coverage? Oh my goodness, there were two Crimson Tide players there. And not one Stanford player. What a time for the coverage to absolutely break down for Stanford. Touchdown Crimson Tide with 13 seconds to go. Alabama does have some magic left in them. The kick is good and it's back to a 7-point lead. With 13 seconds to go, it's going to be Stanford Cardinal football with 1 timeout. And Andrew Luck will have to do it one more time, but he'll have to do it in significantly less time. He'll have 9 seconds. If he's lucky, he'll get to have 2 more throws. If not, maybe just 1 throw, so he's got to make it a winner. Oh, there's the throw. And they got to use that timeout. They do, with 2 seconds left. This is it. This is the ball game for Stanford. And Andrew Luck is scrambling, and Andrew Luck goes down. Andrew Luck gets sacked. And the Alabama Crimson Tide will hang on to win the national championship with the sack. Game over, and the Tide let the celebration begin as Nick Saban claims his first ever national championship as head coach of the University of Alabama. And your play of the game, they got it right. They normally don't, but this time they got it right. The 81-yard pass from A.J. McCarron to DeAnthony White. Absolutely blown coverage in this game. And the Tide are going to celebrate. They took down 3 conference champions on their way to become national champions. Victories over NIU. And there you see player of the game, DeAndrew White. For the first time, Trent Richardson was stuffed and couldn't run the ball. And yet, the Tide still found a way to win. Victories over NIU, Clemson, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, and Stanford. They are your 2011 GoDaddy.com, Chick-fil-A, Orange, Sugar, and finally, Allstate BCS National Champions. Congratulations to the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Stanford Cardinal, you cannot deny, put up one heck of an effort. For Andrew Luck, a disappointing finish for him, especially after leading his team on the drive. But in the end, the Southeast Conference can celebrate their first national title of the BCS Playoffs. And it's going to go to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Let's hit up our post-game report, our post-game show. And then we'll show you some final numbers, some brackets, maybe recap this thing. What a thrilling finale to the national championship. Player stats, yes. A.J. McCarron had his greatest day for a quarterback. You can go back and look at his stats over on the Facebook page. They were not pretty. He threw 5 incompletions today, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Who would have thought that he would have outclassed Andrew Luck? Look at his numbers compared to Andrew Luck. Outstanding. Running-wise, Taylor did what he could. 17 tries for 61 yards and a touchdown. Trent Richardson, he did get to 100 yards rushing. Wasn't his best. I mean, 100 yards for any other running back is awesome. For Trent Richardson, it was a disappointment. Receiving-wise, though, how about DeAndrew White? 6 catches, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns. How about Mays? 5 catches, 129 yards. On the Stanford side, Griff Whalen, who is normally Andrew Luck's go-to guy, only 2 catches for 62 yards. And then you see the rest of the numbers there. And then defensive-wise, not much pressure onto McCarron. They got to him a couple of times, but that was about it. For the Crimson Tide, you see the numbers here. 6 tackles there. You had Jesse Williams. He came through with the sack onto Andrew Luck at the end of the game. Josh Chapman had a sack. And finally, our team stats to wrap up the post-game show. Let's see how even this game was. 14 first downs for the Tide to 12 for Stanford. 382 passing yards to 217 for Stanford. Third down conversions. How impressive were both teams on the money down? 71% on both sides. 100% for both teams in the red zone. This was an evenly matched game. 1 turnover for Alabama. 618 yards to 415. That is 200 more yards for the Tide over Stanford. And talk about how much more even this game was. Time of possession, so close, but punts. No punts for Alabama. 3 of them for Stanford. What a football game we had here in the Superdome for the national championship. We hope you've enjoyed. You can add up all the time that these games were. That's not counting all the graphics and everything that were made. We honestly hope you enjoyed all the time and the effort that was put into making this thing possible. And congratulations to the Tide, who got to earn the national title on the field of play. Congratulations to Alabama. And in their second try here in the Final Four, they were able to make it through unscathed this time, blowing through Virginia Tech, and then the come-from-behind win against Stanford to hang on to claim the national title at 16-1. There's your final numbers one more time. DeAndrew White, who stepped up for this Crimson Tide team in a big way, your national championship game MVP, something he will remember for the rest of his life. And the banner, the championship banner that the Crimson Tide will proudly be able to display in Bryant-Denny Stadium as they hoist the Crystal Football tonight in Tuscaloosa. It's going to be a wild and fun party atmosphere down in that city. And there you go. You can add the Crimson Tide to the list of the elite, the national champions that have earned the title on the field of play, the highest-ranked team to do it in the last 5 years. At number 2, Alabama Crimson Tide, your national champions. They get to go home with the Crystal Football tonight.